And away we go. This is an epic way to start. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the show. It's Monday. Hope you had a good weekend. I had a nice weekend. Hang out with Lady Bloomer. Got to go see the grandbabies. Did the whole thing. But now we're back, and boy, there's a lot going on. I wish I could talk about all of it, but my time is limited, so we're going to talk about as much as I can in this limited amount of time. So, that's it. That's the free intro. Hey, Johnny's turn it off because that's all I got to say. Johnny, play the intro.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, the one and only P-Dog Knight.
All right. Thank you, Alyssa, the wonderful introduction. Stop the music. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as P-Dog Knight on the internet, and welcome back to the P-Dog Knight channel on this Monday, the 29th of January, 2024. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. As I mentioned already, I spent the weekend with Lady Bloomer and friends, and then got to go up and see the grandbabies yesterday. Gave my daughter and the son-in-law a little respite, let them get out of the house, and I took care of the lovely, lovely young girls, and then came home and hung out with Lady Boomer. We've been watching a lot of these K-dramas, like these Korean, they're just they're like miniseries. They're all like about 16 to, between 12 and 16 episode, basically long movies, right? Like a miniseries. And we've been watching them a lot lately. And what is interesting? I think the reason that I like them, and some of them are like romantic comedies, some are have a little more mystery to them. They have a lot of different styles of different ones. But what I seem to like about them is that you don't get a ton of agenda type stuff like in American TV or even Netflix movies, whatever that are produced in this area of the world. Everything has some kind of, they have to wedge some message into it. They have to wedge something into it that has political overtones or social, social ideology overtones. And the K-dramas are just really well-written stories. I mean, there might be a little tiny political thing in there, regarding what's happening. Like one of them we watched, where this woman accidentally parachutes into North Korea. There was a little bit of political stuff in that, but not a lot, right? But they write good stories. I wish American filmmakers and TV series writers and whatever would just go back to writing stories instead of trying to shove someone's freaking ideology down your throat, or, worried about making everything as completely diverse as possible, because most people, regardless of what your race is, most people don't spend their time in like total, every freaking subgroup in everywhere, and so it's just refreshing, and so I kind of like them. They're really fun to watch and whatever. So that's we finished off one of them last night. A really good one and this one had a time travel theme in it, and it was really, really well done. Really well written, and they're just fun to watch because they're well written stories. And some of them you have to read subtitles. Sometimes some of them are dubbed in English. This one that we're watching was dubbed in English, so it's easier to follow. You don't have to sit there and read the screen the whole time. But they're on, like, if you go on to Netflix and you just put if you search and put K dramas, there's lists of them, and they're really good. So if you ever into that kind of stuff. My mother-in-law, or not my mother-in-law, actually. My mother is the one who got us hooked on them because she's always talking about these K-dramas. I'm like, oh, okay, well, we'll check it out. And now we're hooked. They're just great stories. So anyway, just a little tip there. Let's get this thing started, because I got a ton of stuff here, and I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna warn you. I have so much. Well, I didn't open all the tabs. There were so many tabs I wanted to open as I was going through the news aggregators today. But most of the stuff I pulled off of Twitter, because there's so many things that are just happening like now. Like, yeah, there's stuff that happened over the weekend, but there's stuff just happening now that we got to worry about. So let's say hi to everybody and get it started. First in the chat over on Rebels, Mr. Mike Savage. Blarg gets the bell. Good morning, sir. Also, good morning to our friend Avocados Diablo, who I was getting worried about because you were first on either side. So I was like, oh, it was because it was an alarm. And then that's everyone on Rumble. That's everyone who's chimed in on Rumble. Looks like there's 4 or 5 other people watching on Rumble too. So, well, hopefully you stick around. And if you don't, well, that's, tough luck on my part. Over on YouTube, first in the chat is number one. It got here first. Wow, that's your first time being number one. Except that's your name, number one. So congratulations. Also my favorite Canadian Jaeger ponies in the house, Mike Savage, Blarg, Shuyu Gospels here, Zed the Snarky, Kara Soldier. Looks like Patio Furniture is in the house. Our friend Tyre Alexander, the gentleman Lich, is here. Hello, good morning. Also, good morning. Did I say? Yes, I did say Kara Soldier already. Hello. Let's see. Simon Wilkins, good morning. Maddie's in the house. Also, Tyler F is here. Good morning. Also, to Attack Alpaca. Nomad's in the house. Nice to see you here, sir.
Hammer time.
And let's see. As I scroll down, there's a few more here. Unacceptable Views. Good morning. Special Can Acid, Episkipos Egipetsko. I'm going to just start calling you EpiPen, because that's a lot easier. You're the EpiPen's in the house. Episkipos in the house. And Anan Uno Dos Tres is here. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. And do me a favor, share the stream wherever you can on social media or whatnot, wherever you do that kind of stuff. 26 people here, 27 people, 12 likes. Hit the like button, share the stream, and then you can sponsor the show, pdognight.live. The links, that's the Streamlabs link. So, for example, as you see, I'm going to drop the Superstar donor link to the top of the YouTube chat, and we'll drop it in the Rumble chat too. And but you can also, but for ease of use, you can certainly do super chats from YouTube and Rumble rants. But the best place to sponsor the show is Streamlabs, the Streamlabs Superstar sponsor, because it's the easiest for me to manage, and it also they take less of your money for themselves, because oh no, am I having a playback error? Did this stream die on YouTube? Hold up. I'm going to refresh this here. Hopefully that's not what's happening. Oh my goodness. What the hell is that? That is not what I was looking for. What happened to YouTube? Are we still on YouTube? I guess I'll find out when I scroll down. Doesn't look like anyone said the stream died yet. Too many Canadians in this chat. No, there's lots of Canadians. Yes, there are lots. No, you see me. Well, I just don't see me. That's the problem. So let me see if I can figure out what the hell is going on here. Let's go back into the studio. Let's see, YouTube studio, and it should show me going live right here. I'm losing subscribers all of a sudden. That's weird too. This doesn't show me. Okay, there it is. Okay, I am, in fact, live. Where the hell is my... Okay, this is a pain in the butt. Let's see. Oh, here we go. I know what I do. Yeah, this is weird. Usually, I don't lose the feed, and I did on my own stream. That's craziness. There we go. All right, there it is. It's back. All right, so let's get into some of the things happening in the world. Oh, thank you, Tyre Alexander, who says, let the ranting begin. she is doing the Lord's work. Okay, well, I'll make sure to get that one in the list here. What is this? Thank you, Ty. By the way, that was Tyler Alexander. And by the way, Tyler Alexander, you are the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. Thank you very much. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. What's the date on this? Because there was an update on this. It got, that bill, I think, failed, and some of the Democrats in Maine are very mad, Tyre. But we'll drop that into the early articles of the show. All right, let's get into what's happening in the world. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Tyre. I appreciate it, and we will definitely get to that. I didn't talk about that last week. Yeah, I probably should have. All right, trending topics right now on social media. Oh, by the way, thank you. Let's see, Somnable Nation and Tyler F. and Maddie, all for tweeting out the show. Again, share the stream. Sharing is caring. Feel the love. Sharing is caring. All right. Trending things. Usher, the singer, is trending because apparently it's been announced that the halftime show for the Super Bowl will be none other than Usher. He used to be a young man. I remember when Usher came out, and he was like 16 or 17 years old, and he was really popular and whatnot. And he has some a pretty good book, so to say, of music that he can bring to a Super Bowl. Now, what's interesting about this, though, one of the reasons it's trending is because, in fact, let me put it on the screen here. Here's the trending topic for Usher. The funniest thing I read in here, though, was Goodell. This is Roger Goodell, when he saw that there was a possibility of Baltimore niggas linking up with Detroit niggas in Vegas during Black History Month with an Usher concert in the middle. Oh, he had to nip that in the bud. But and so people are upset that, the Ravens, imagine the Ravens versus the Lions with Usher performing at halftime during Black History Month. You knew the Democrats were not going for it. Now, that's probably funnier to black people than white people, but it is funny to me that they're saying that. Now, the other thing too, I wonder, if you're not familiar, who is the boy band from Korea that had Jungkook in it? Jungkook did a song with Usher. He's one of the famous Korean K-pop singers, and I wonder if Usher's going to bring out, who's Usher going to bring out on stage with him? That's what I want to know. I am curious, because there's a lot of possibilities. He could bring out Little John, doo-dip, 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 doo-dip. Yeah. Could you see that? A little when he does, yeah, he could bring out Little John. He could bring out Jungkook from Korea. He could bring out all kinds of people. I mean, he's done a lot of little collabs with other artists. So it's going to be interesting to see who jumps on stage. Yeah, BTS. That's what I was thinking of. BTS. Boys that sit. 2P. That's funny. Good morning, Aaron Meredith and Jason Who, by the way. Yeah, so it'll be interesting. And Phantom Dog Fart over in Rumble. Rick Ashbringer. Also, good morning to all of you. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see who Usher brings out with him. But, yeah, the idea of Detroit versus Baltimore with Usher at halftime. Yeah, because remember, because the rumors were, because the last two Super Bowls, when they made the Super Bowl logo, they just happened to be in the colors of the two teams that ended up in the Super Bowl, right? So this year, everyone thought it was going to be San Francisco and Baltimore because the Super Bowl logo has, it's red and purple, which is the colors of San Francisco, Baltimore. So everyone's saying the NFL is rigged. And I don't know if because that came, if the NFL was rigged and somebody, in the NFL saw that, somebody figured out our game. And then they said, well, no, let's make it not true by putting San Francisco and Kansas City in there. But, Kansas City, their defense stepped up and had the poor young man, the quarterback there, frustrated. And so whatever. So, but anyway, that's as much sports news as I'm going to do today. Also trending, except for Eminem is also trending because he was at the San Francisco The only reason he's trending, he was at the San Francisco Detroit game, and he was having fun with fans by flipping them off. So he and the fans were playing, and Eminem's disagreeing with a 49ers fan. Here he is yelling at him, and then he's out there. He wants to flip him off. But anyway, he's the celebrity from the 49ers. I only watched the end of the Kansas City game, so I don't know how many times they showed Taylor Swift on the screen. I'm sure it was more times than anyone wanted to see her, and they probably showed Eminem more than any time that they wanted to see him, and so that's why he's trending. Okay, so enough about sports ball. Let's talk about art. Let's talk about fine art, and the only reason we're going to talk about fine art. Hello, Simon Wolfwood. The only reason we're going to talk about fine art is because the Mona Lisa is trending. Mona Lisa. How does that song? Mona Lisa. The Nat King Cole song, Mona Lisa. Anyway, the reason the Mona Lisa is trending is because, some climate activists have saved the world. Now, why would the Mona Lisa have anything to do with climate activists saving the world? Well, because some climate activists decided to throw some soup at the Mona Lisa in the Louvre. Employees responded by holding curtains up to block visitors from seeing. Now, this is Libs TikTok saying these climate terrorists need to be arrested and given long prison sentences. Needs to stop. Now, just to be fair, at least as far as what happened. Yeah, soup. They're throwing soup again. They're dummies. They're throwing soup at art. This Mona Lisa is encased in glass, so they could not damage the painting. However, there are other paintings in the Louvre that if they did this little soup thing, I don't know if it would hurt them or not, because not all of them are covered in glass. But I'm just happy that they have saved the world. They have saved the planet by throwing soup at art in a museum, because that's exactly what that's exactly how you stop climate change, through carbon emissions. See, the carbon emissions that emanate from the Mona Lisa are neutralized by tomato soup, kind of like skunk juice. You know how if you ever get hit by the skunk thing, the skunk attacks you with its nasty smell, you use tomato juice takes that smell off of you. Well, the same with the carbon emissions from the Mona Lisa. Tomato soup is the active ingredient in which removes the carbon emissions from fine art. So there you go. There you go. Let's see. When the lines were up 24/7 at halftime, my failure senses were tingling. I knew the old lines would pop up and grasp defeat from the jaws of victory. Yes, I wish I would have watched that game, but we were watching K-dramas. But then I was reading about the game, like, oh, that must have been an exciting comeback for the San Francisco 49ers. But again, we believe that the San Francisco 49ers were already supposed to be in the Super Bowl. And but for whatever reason, Baltimore failed to live up to their expectations. So anyway, it seems like they attack the Mona Lisa quite often, by the way. Here's somebody talking about what? Okay, someone here saying, wait, let me come back to this for a second. Someone here saying, can we have a little round of applause once again for fossil fuels saving lives? Julia Hartley Brewer clashes with director of Climate Media Coalition. Oh, well, here we go. Here's a good little. This makes sense. Hang on. Let's play this clip real quick.
Do you think these kind of demonstrations, these kind of protests, do they serve a purpose? Is it justifiable to risk damaging a
classic piece of art,
one of the most famous works of art in the world, to make your point about the environment?
Well, I thought this would be a protest you would support, Julia.
Why? No. I mean, I don't particularly like the painting.
Nobody's in. Oh, really?
Oh.
That's lovely.
Have you been to the
I have seen it. It's a bit disappointing.
I mean, basically, it's about the size of a you stand at the back. It's the size of a postage stamp. Doesn't really do it
it's
for
quite
me.
Disappointing.
But yeah.
But I would say, from a point of view of, it didn't hurt anybody. It didn't cause any cost damage, and it put the issue
and it didn't help anybody.
Really interesting one. It's actually food sustainability and food affordability.
Oh, for fuck's sake. No, it's not.
Britain can't afford food.
So they're throwing it at a painting.
Well, they can. 11 million people aren't starving in
I didn't phrase that well. They suffer from food poverty. And the other thing is that they talked about food needs to be cheap and needs to be sustainable. What this has put on the agenda is the fact that we've got a soil crisis.
Oh my God! Fossil fuels allow that to happen.
The Tory government said that we have around, some of our soils have only around 40 crops left. 85% of the soil in East Anglia is gone.
That has
So we
nothing
have
to do with
we hold
oil.
this soil
We've
in
heard
trust.
these things before, and then it's amazing the ability of the earth to rejuvenate itself. Can I point out,
Well, it takes
if you're
1,000 years
worried
to
about
do a
food
centimetre
sustainability,
of,
you need food
soil.
to be abundant, you need it to be cheap, so people
Yes.
afford it. Do you know what half of the world's population rely on for their food?
Fossil fuels.
Fertilizers. Man-made fertilizers. Do you know how we make man-made fertilizers? We use fossil fuels. Can we have a little round of applause?
Yay! Yes, we can. So there you go. There's some. That makes sense.
You don't like fossil fuels.
Oh, no, but what I do like is cheap food. But what I also like,
No,
what I like is sustainable food. So let me-
Answer my point.
No.
You can't have cheap,
We have-
affordable...
If you kill the soil, you have no food.
Oh, good God. He's not listening. He is not paying attention. Yes, we are. In fact, I think we personally, I think we overemphasize the need for fertilizers. But, because, you could go with some different farming methods, but you're still going to need fossil fuels to till all that soil to feed the world. And this guy, and these idiots just, well, I guess it's redundant that they're idiots. So anyway, thank you, Jimmy Das Hotep. Thank you, Swamp Fox Ghost. Silver Tier, that's a new name, and Somnable Nation Tyler for retweeting Jimmy Das, or that's mine, for retweeting my tweet of the tweet of the show. And Jimmy Das, are you here? I don't even see you yet, but I'm sure you're here somewhere. Moving on, also, I said Eminem, we just see Mona Lisa's trending, E. Jean Carroll's trending. Now, if you didn't see over the weekend, holy shit, or Friday, Donald Trump, in the E. Jean Carroll defamation case, has been ordered to pay E. Jean Carroll $83.3 million for his defamation of this woman. Now, there's a lot of fascinating things about this and so many appealable things, but I don't know if they're going to be able to do it. We'll see if they can appeal this, but he's been ordered to pay $83.3 million. And it was the jury that had to determine how much Trump owed Carroll, since he was already found liable for sexually abusing Carroll through a judge's summary judgment, not through any kind of due process, or not even a summary judgment. Just they call it a finding of fact. So there is no proof of this, and boy, oh boy, it's a terrible case. We've talked about how, first of all, the way she describes it is physically impossible, but also just so many inconsistencies. For example, now they know that the dress that she supposedly was wearing, that she claims she was wearing, because she said it was the same dress she wore on the cover of some magazine, which supposedly had DNA evidence on it. But then when he finally capitulated, gave DNA evidence, but with the stipulation that this defense team would be given the entire results of the DNA evidence, then the team that was bringing the case wanted that evidence not admitted to, didn't want it admitted, so apparently didn't have the right DNA evidence. And then the dress that the DNA evidence supposedly was on did not exist in the years that she couldn't remember, but the span of years that this incident happened. So the Donna Karen dress did not exist. So but she vividly remembers it, of course, and then you're trying to have standing up with tights around your knees and standing, and that's probably physically impossible unless you're a tranny and have a front hole. But anyway, let's talk about hello Zed the Snarky, and someone else just showed up. Trippy's Liberty's in the house. What's up, my brother? All right, so anyway, she was ordered to pay $83 million, or Trump was ordered to pay $83 million. But here's the breakdown too. Now remember, E. Jean Carroll is 72 years old, and they're saying they gave her $18.3 million in compensatory damages. Now, compensatory damages would be actual damages to her had this defamation, if this defamation was real, right? $18.3 million in compensatory damages. How many 72-year-olds would lose $18.3 million between this time and the end of their life from a defamation suit. What? How could it damage your reputation for that's actual damages. Actual damages at $18.3 million. She's not a movie star. She no longer writes for, I think, Vanity Fair, whatever magazine she was writing for. She's retired. How many retired people lose $18 million in opportunities? $18 million in opportunities after the age of 72. I'll wait. Anybody? Oh, that would be none. That's so there. And then $65 million in punitive damage. Carroll accused Trump of raping her in 1996 at the Bergdorf Goodman, whatever, across from Trump Tower, which is the exact plot of a Law and Order, the exact plot of a Law and Order episode, which she's a fan of Law and Order. Here it is. And lawyers claim Trump defamed Carroll with his mean tweets because online trolls went after her as well. And so here's the thing here. Habas claimed that Trump shouldn't be held responsible for the hateful messages and death threats that Carroll received after going public with sexual assault allegations against Trump. Quote, "Ladies and gentlemen, this isn't about President Trump or E. Jean Carroll. This is about some people in their mother's basement who will always be mean on social media. You can't stop that," the firebrand lawyer told jurors as she finished her closing arguments. Carroll's lawyers argued that Trump unleashed his followers on the Ask E. Jean writer, but Habas said Trump was only defending himself when he said he didn't know Carroll and claimed she wasn't his type when he was in the office in June 2019. So obviously Trump thinks this is ridiculous. And so then we get this little article here. I've got a couple articles about this. By the way, here's a problem too in this case. Why is this not scrolling? What's going on here? Anyway, Trump, the judge in the Trump Carroll case was a mentor to E. Jean Carroll's lawyer. So they're going to expect a little bit of a conflict of interest because this was, the rulings in this case almost all went against Trump. And that's kind of wild. How that is possible. Every ruling. Donald Trump's legal team is set to use previously undisclosed conflict of interest as grounds for appealing a recent verdict that orders a former president to pay advice columnist E. Jean Carroll $83.3 million. By the way, she's a crackpot. I'm just telling you. She's a crackpot. And please, come sue me for $83 million. Good luck. You might be able to sue me for $83, but anyway, Trump attorney Alina Habba told the New York Post that she previously unaware of that Manhattan federal judge Lewis Kaplan, who presided over the case, worked with Roberta Kaplan, Carroll's attorney. Oh, they're not. Wait, that's not her name, Roberta Kaplan. Anyway, at the Paul Weiss, Rifkin, Wharton, and Garrison law firm in the early 90s. So that is crazy. That here, let me see if I can get this to scroll. This is crazy. Oh, apparently. Okay, there we go. Habas said neither the judge nor Roberta Kaplan revealed this professional history. It was never disclosed. It's insane and so incestuous, Habas said. Well, they have the same last name. That's weird. Asserting the non-disclosure counts as an ethics violation. Earlier in her career, Roberta worked as an associate at the firm during the same period as Judge Kaplan, who was a partner until his 1994 appointment to the federal bench by then President Bill Clinton. A representative for Roberta Kaplan, sacked lawyer, said no conflict of interest exists because Roberta never worked directly for Kaplan, a defense undermined by an unnamed ex-partner at the firm who told the Post Lou was like her mentor. If that is true, that's fucking amazing. I just got to tell you, that is fucking amazing. Anyway, and then apparently this is boiling over into the election realm because Nikki Haley apparently, at least this article says, she botched her response to the $83.3 million jury verdict against Trump, while most Republican presidential candidates have been willing to acknowledge the blatant abuse of legal system to attack Donald Trump. Nikki Haley, the mainstream media and Democrats' choice for Republican nominee, has been willing to, has decided to go in a different route in the wake of the jury awarding a ridiculous $83 million in damages to E. Jean Carroll for alleged defamation after she made dubious and most likely false allegations that he sexually assaulted her in the 1990s. The jury arrived at the verdict and granted here's what most candidates say. For example, Trump said, absolutely ridiculous. I fully disagree with both verdicts and will be appealing this whole Biden-directed witch hunt focused on me and the Republican Party. But Nikki Haley, well, where is it? Here it is. What did she say? Where is it? Okay, hang on. Oh, rather than blasting the absurdity of the jury's action, Haley decided to use the situation to attack Trump. Quote, Donald Trump wants to be the presumptive Republican nominee, and we're talking about $83 million in damages. We're not talking about fixing the border. We're not talking about tackling inflation. She said in a post on X, America can do better than Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Well, it's politics. She can say that shit. I don't care. But it's kind of dumb not to not to complain about but I get it. She didn't want to talk about it. I wouldn't say she botched it. She wants to talk about something else because, well, I don't know what she wants to talk about. Hello, Robert Banks. How you doing? The judge threw out Virginia Jeffries' Epstein traffic victim case versus Prince Andrew, and it was appointed by Clinton. I don't believe in coincidences anymore. Oh, God, that too. Well, yeah. Oh, how about that? Damn, when did that happen? Did that just happen? Banks, when did that happen? I'm curious. All right, moving on. The UNRWA, which is what does that stand for? Well, here, it's funny because none of these articles say what this stands for, but apparently many of the nations that support this agency that works within the Palestinian territories, West Bank and Gaza, who supposedly was there to dole out UN relief aid. Apparently, some people that were working there were kind of helping the Palestinians during these attacks, apparently. The breaking the quote, few bad apples lines, end quote, pushed by the UN has just been obliterated. The Wall Street Journal front page is reporting that an estimated 1,200 UNRWA employees in Gaza are actual operatives of Hamas or Palestinian Islamic Jihad, and about half are relatives who belong to the Islamist terrorist organizations, according to Israeli intelligence estimates shared with the U.S. government. The report said 23% of UNRWA male employees, the agency has a total of staff of 12,000 in Gaza, took active part in the Hamas organization's military or political framework, a higher percentage than the average of 15% of all adult males in Gaza. The information in the Israeli intelligence reports based on sensitive signals intelligence, as well as cell phone tracking data, interrogations of captured Hamas gunmen, and documents recovered from dead terrorists. Nearly half of all UNRWA, I think it's UN Relief and Work. Oh, United Nations Relief and Works Agency. An estimated 49% also had close relatives with official ties to Hamas and other terrorist groups. The October 7th intelligence report seen by the Wall Street Journal identified the UNRWA Arabic teacher who was also a Hamas terrorist commander and took part in a terrorist attack at Kibbutz Be'eri, where 97 people were murdered and about 26 people were kidnapped and taken hostages in Gaza. Another UNRWA employee described in the dossier as UNRWA social worker played a role in absconding with the body of the dead Israeli soldier, which was taken to Gaza. The report said he also coordinated trucks and munitions and distributions for Hamas before being killed. So that is the news part of it. Now, people are kind of speaking on both sides of this. Aaron Mate, who is very, very, very much on the Palestinian side of this debate, said after U.S. and ally cut off funding for UNRWA, and these two people launched Israel's stated pretext that a handful of UNRWA employees were involved in October 7th. Well, is it a handful or not? Sounds like many of them. New York Times conveniently omits that Israeli officials have admitted that a lot of their so-called intelligence about UNRWA is the result of interrogations of militants, aka torture. Is it? Well, don't know. And perhaps this is why we learn that Western officials have not been able to verify Israel's claims. And even though the U.S. has yet to corroborate the Israeli claims itself, American officials say they found them credible enough to warrant suspending aid. And I guess, again, I don't know. So I'm going to read different opinions about it. I don't know. But then when there's Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who says cutting off support to UNRWA, the primary source of humanitarian aid to 2 million plus Gazans, is unacceptable among an organization of 13,000 UN aid workers risking the starvation of millions over grave allegations of 12 is indefensible. Well, if the Wall Street Journal article says it's about half of them, of the 12,000, have family ties to Hamas officials or actively participate. I guess, I don't know. And again, that's why the few bad apples tweet there from Hillel Neuer. Let's see. We will not be able to help Hamas after February due to suspension of funding. That's the UNRWA. Let's see. The average UNRWA executive compensation is $237,000 a year. The median estimated compensation for executives at UNRWA, including base salary and bonus, is $239,000 per year, and or $115 an hour at UNRWA. The cost of compensated executives. Okay, that's whatever that has to do with it. I don't know. I'm just curious if the people are actually, if a lot of them are actually doing what they're saying here. Hello, K Show, by the way. Start ending the U.S. aid to UN. Work it down from there. If you actually, yes, that would be God's work to stop. Just let's stop funding the UN. They're useless. Minnesota's trending. Again, this has something to do with Ilhan Omar. I don't know if you saw this over the weekend, but apparently over the weekend, she spoke to a crowd of Somalians who waved the new Minnesota flag, which kind of resembles the Somalian flag in some ways, and said that she pledged her allegiance to Somalia. Now, this is a very truncated clip they posted here, so I don't know. Well, she's speaking in Somalian. But anyway, the report is, where is it? Ilhan Omar caught off guard telling Somalians in Minnesota that her number one job is to protect the interests of Somalia. She says she's Somalia first, Muslim second, no mention of America, where she sits in office. So, that certainly can be interpreted several ways, I guess, except it doesn't surprise me. There's a large Somali population in her district, and so her saying that her number one job is to protect the interests of Somalia. Yeah, maybe you shouldn't be a congresswoman then. Also in Minneapolis, there was an interesting art display. They had over in I think it was Powderhorn Park. They have a festival every year, and usually it's with sleds and snow, but because there's no snow on the ground right now. They had a little little sliding ramp here to do their artful sleds, and this is one that they sent down the ramp. Here it is. It is it's a simulation of wait a minute. It's a simulation of the 3rd precinct burning, and boy oh boy are the people just cheering along. Wow, that's extra special. Remember when George Floyd the whole George Floyd riots, everything, and they burned down the 3rd precinct, which has yet to be rebuilt, by the way. The 3rd precinct in Minneapolis has yet to be rebuilt, and boy, we don't have any crime problems in Minnesota whatsoever. So congratulations, dickheads in Powder Run Park. Moving on, Somalia is trending because of Ilhan Omar. I'll skip that. Charles Schwab is trending because apparently Schwab and their $85 trillion asset manager business is apparently going to be investing in Bitcoin or something like that. So Bitcoin holders are probably happy because it'll probably drive the price of Bitcoin up some more. Iran is trending. Now this one, I said in the sub-headline, Iran attacks. There have been several. Here, do I have the, oh shoot, where is it? I thought I had it out here. Well, maybe I don't. Hang on a second. I thought I had an article about it. What happened is Iran is still attacking. Well, I don't even know it's necessarily Iran. The Iranian Revolutionary Guards missiles hit the headquarters of the Iranian Revolutionary Guards in Damascus, Syria. Oh, so they're trading airstrikes over there. Let's just put it that way. And apparently, some Americans have been killed in these. Let's see. This is Colonel Rob Manis, retired. There's an Iranian spy ring at the top of the Biden administration. There's former Qatari. Is that how do you say someone from Qatar? A Qatari foreign agent seated alongside a member of that alleged ring at the Department of Defense. The chief of staff of the Asset Secretary of Defense for Special Ops is an Iranian agent. There's a BDS backing Israeli agent activist atop the National Security Council, or NSC, and Intel. So this is Biden's senior director for intelligence programs in the White House National Security Council staff. Maher Bitar was an official of the UNRWA while the group was providing material support to terrorism. Oh, good God. That's not the story, but I just happened to run across that. Let's just put it this way. The drums of war are banging again. Now, as I read people responding to these Iranian attacks, for example, Ben Shapiro says these Americans are dead because Joe Biden's Middle East policy is vacillating cowardice. He's been allowing the Houthis to push us around in the Red Sea, Iranian terror proxies to attack American targets in Iraq and Syria with impunity, and now this, don't appease the terrorists. So this is, what is this that he's talking about from the Wall Street Journal? Here, let me, I'm going to see if I can find an article. So here's the story. Copy. I prefer archived versions of stories. Here we go. So here's the story from the weekend. 3 U.S. troops killed in drone attack in Jordan. Strike at a small outpost near Syria marks major escalation in fighting the region. So 3 U.S. U.S. service members were killed and at least 34 were injured when an Iran-backed militia's drone strike at a base in northeast Jordan, U.S. officials said, marking the first American troops killed in hostile action since the start of the Hamas-Israel conflict in Gaza. The U.S. officials said that the attack took place overnight at Tower 22, a small outpost near the Syrian border. The drone struck living quarters for the troops, contributing to high casualties, a U.S. official said. The strike, which was carried out by a one-way attack drone, signals an escalation in the fighting in the region. President and Secretary of Defense said the U.S. would retaliate. So, hello, shrapnel. So we're, let's just say that this has got people getting excited for war, particularly, and I guess they have, Syria is also trending because of it, but particularly Mr. Lindsey Graham. Of course, the John McCain, I'd say protege, the John McCain theory of everything that happens to us, we should start a war over. But is this a legit reason to attack Iran if they're attacking bases? That's going to be the question you're going to start hearing, because nobody wants to be in war. But then they attack and kill 3 American servicemen. So let's see what some people are saying. Here, for example, raise your hand if you agree with Tucker that warmongers John Cornyn and Lindsey Graham are fucking lunatics, because Lindsey Graham posted this: hit Iran now, hit him hard. And he's not the only one. John Cornyn, target Tehran. So Colin Rugg here, does a lot of stories on YouTube. New Senator Lindsey Graham is calling for war with Iran after 3 American troops were killed and 25 others injured in Jordan. During a previous show on X, Tucker Carlson blasted Graham for being a warmonger. Carlson specifically blasted Graham for not caring about lost lives because he is nearly 70 years old with no kids. What would happen if the United States if we declared war on Iran and started blowing up their infrastructure? Lindsey Graham has no clue what would happen. He hasn't thought it through. He's almost 70 years old and he has no children. Well, it's hard to have children when you're gay. But neither, amazingly, do most of his colleagues in Washington. They're as reckless as he is. So there's these. But then again, if you go to Kurt Schlichter, who I also appreciate, nothing says Lindsey Graham Republican-like thinking we should retaliate when foreigners attack Americans. This is a sarcastic neocon. And then Vivek, for centuries, American statesmen reviled the thought of civilian deaths and war as a last resort. Now we have the likes of Lindsey Graham and Nikki Haley giddily calling to hit Iran now and hit them hard. It's disgusting. It says a lot about the kind of GOP they're trying to recreate. So, boy, oh boy, this is a tough question because they attacked us directly. Somebody here says Lindsey Graham wants to send your children off into another war while he sits comfortably behind a keyboard, to which Kurt Schlichter said, I'm sure he does, but in this case, they killed Americans. We have to avenge that. That Lindsey Graham is happy about it is irrelevant. If the position is that American troops can be killed by third world barbarians with impunity, that should be stated clearly so people can evaluate it. I reject that. If you kill Americans, you need to die. That is true regardless of what people like Lindsey Graham thinks. So I'm kind of with Kurt Schlichter here. Do we need to start a war or do we just start destroying shit around where that drone strike came from? I don't know. Good morning, Now What Studios. Nice to see you, my friend. Woo. I think I said shrapnel, and those ain't real dudes in the house. Also, Utanur 755, welcome over on Rumble. Nice to see you. Who says Ilhan Omar is a fucking traitor? Well, you are a great American. All right. Also trending. Mayorkas is trending. We'll get into the immigration stuff a little bit here, but Mayorkas is trending because apparently the House GOP has unveiled articles of impeachment against Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. The first step to impeach him. They accuse him of willingly and systematically refusing to comply with the law and breaching public trust by knowingly making false statements and obstructing lawful oversight of the Department of Homeland Security. That's interesting. I think it's going to go nowhere. They might impeach him, but then when they send it to the Senate, no one in the Senate's going to get rid of him unless it's very obvious. Now, Jonathan Turley, it looks like Jonathan Turley has weighed in on this, and usually it seems like he has supports Republican positions, but this time, no. Here's his commentary on that, which he did on Fox News.
Mayorkas, while the House does have a tiny little majority of Republicans, the Senate's not going to pass it. They're not going to get 2/3 majority.
No, they're not. 2/3 they need.
No, they're not. But the thing is, look, I don't fault the House. If they have a basis for impeachment, regardless what the other House does, they have an obligation to proceed. I just don't believe that they have a cognizable basis here for impeachment. The first article is basically a disagreement about the level of enforcement being done by this administration. The Republicans are right. We have an open border.
Right.
This is a huge crisis. But that is a policy judgment made by the president. The courts have,
and it's a bad policy judgment, but it is the prerogative of the president, which is unfortunate.
And this is not the first president.
So we need to get rid of the president
over lack of enforcement at the border.
Sure.
All right. So there you go. All right. Enough of that. Let's let's see what I have next here. The list goes on and on. So anyway, I do have an article on that. I don't need to go through it though. House GOP drafts articles of impeachment against Mayorkas. Look, it's well, it might be right. It's certainly not going anywhere, like Turley said. I mean, it's like when they tried to impeach Trump. It was going nowhere. Hello, Soil Baby. Welcome. New name over on Rumble. Nice to see you. All right, let's go. Gavin Newsom is trending. Why is Newsom trending? Now, this person says a master class of delivery. Okay, this is Gavin Newsom saying that the economy is booming and inflation is cooling. Not really. And of course, economic strategy is what the president has put together, where all things Republicans dreamed of but never delivered. Well, the idea that someone's delivering that, here's what he said. Here's Gavin Newsom, the slimy. I'm putting him in the same category as Chuck Schumer. He's slimy, as opposed to smarmy prick from New York. He's the slimy prick from California. Here we go.
Michelle Obama, as I'm sure you saw, said that people should be terrified about what could possibly happen.
Oh, terrified.
Is she right?
They should be terrified.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we all should be. I mean, what more evidence do you need? I mean, here's a guy who lost the election, Trump, and tried to wreck the country.
He's
lighting democracy on fire. He's making democracy a partisan issue. Never imagined that in my lifetime. So
no, he's not. You guys, no. And see, it's talk about projection. Talk about projection. It's you assholes making democracy a partisan issue, claiming that, well, if Trump's elected, that will be the end of democracy. No, it won't. Our checks and balances are strong in the United States of America. No, it will not be the end of democracy. No, we will still have elections after Trump because he only has 4 years and he knows it. And they're not going to amend the Constitution for him. God, no.
Found and pronounced, and that's why I'm down here, because this race is started.
Oh,
and we
yeah,
need to
whatever.
lift up the issues, the successes, this extraordinary success.
Extraordinary
of the last 3 years of the
successes.
Biden-Harris administration.
What successes?
And then we drive contrast. It's not even a complicated campaign. We have the receipts. We have the best 3-year record of any modern American presidency. Period. Full stop. And you.
What the fuck did he just say? What the actual fuck did he just say? What? The best 3-year. Oh my God. So let's see what someone else says here, because Robert Davey. Now, Robert Davey is a former actor. He's a politically involved actor. No, let's see. He's responding. Someone said that Democrat Governor Gavin Newsom claims Joe Biden has a border plan and blames Republican for interfering with his ability to enact all his border plans. So, and the response to that is, so after 10 million illegals from all over, mostly men of fighting ages of 18 to 40, the Getty raised Pelosi nephew, a golden spoon fed, spoiled, and entitled twat Gavin Newsom, is going around the country straight out deceiving the public. The media is in on it. Somebody exposed Gavin Newsom's lies. And again, he says the best 3-year record of any American presidency, period, full stop. It's too dumb for words. Pfizer's also trending. I'm just gonna walk away from it. Hello, Cracked. Sadly, there are a lot of people that will believe what he's saying. Yes, it's funny. They're always talking about how Republicans are always trying to gaslight us. Motherfucker, that's exactly what Gavin Newsom's doing. That's exactly what they're doing. Hello, and T2, I'll be back in the house, and Jimmy Das Hotep. Whoop. Here we go. Pfizer's trending because apparently some of the wall is crumbling down on Pfizer in Slovakia. Prime Minister Robert Fico, who has just announced a COVID inquiry that will investigate the vaccine excess deaths, an EU Pfizer deal, and Big Pharma's ability to control the government. His statement here, the Slovak public simply needs an answer about vaccination, what it actually was, why people were vaccinated with various experimental vaccines, why all sorts of drugs were pushed into people. He accused the previous government of not only failing the people, but having 21,000 deaths on their hands. Let the truth prevail. There's a lot of investigations into Pfizer right now in various places. And Jimmy Dore says it begins. This will not end well for Pfizer, Moderna, or Fauci. Bravo to Slovakia. Yes, I give them a hand. Let's see. Now, this is funny too. Where is it? Someone's reporting 11 million in payments so far to this country's vaccine injured. So much for safe and effective. Meanwhile, the CBC was pushing the shots harder than the comms team at Pfizer. CBC staff spotted on social media identifying as Team Pfizer. Never forget, this is up in Canada, of course. Never forget this total abdication of journalistic responsibility the next time they whine about legacy media dying. Good riddance. So they're talking about this. Someone named Trisha.
Also tracking breaking news on the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine. The pharmaceutical companies say their vaccine is 100% effective.
Oh, she sounds like Rachel Maddow. Wow.
In children aged 12 to 15. That's a better rate than in adults.
100% effective. Oh, wait. Did she say what ages? What age?
Is 100% effective in children aged 12 to 15. That's
age 12 to 15. You mean the kids that don't have, that don't die from COVID? Unless they have major complications. Oh my God. They must have cherry picked the hell out of that study. I'm not even gonna, if it's in the links. I'm not even playing that shit. Apparently, Texas is also suing Pfizer. People are making fun of Travis Kelce. They're calling him Mr. Pfizer. And so here's a good point. Just a reminder, you can sue McDonald's if the coffee's too hot, but you can't sue Pfizer if their safe and effective shot injures you or kills your child. Yeah, there you go. All right, that's why Pfizer's trending. I got to get to the main topic. This is a story you may not have heard of, but apparently this con artist accused of stealing $100 million from the army to spend on luxury homes, cars, and whatnot, apparently is still going to get full benefits from the United States Army. Now, I think I have the article open somewhere else, but here, I'll just put it right here. By the way, if you're new here, some of you are new. Everything I put in the show, every tweet, every video, every article, and even some that I don't get to, I put in a link in the description at the end of the show in both Rumble and YouTube, and also I drop it in the chat at the end of the show during the outro. So if you want to click on it and bookmark that and go back through some of these articles, they will all be here. Or if you happen to do stuff of your own, and if you do podcasts or blogging or or you do something like this, or you do videos or whatever, all these articles will be in the links at the end of the show. All right, let's kind of go through this real quick. Let me get to Tyre's article. Thank you again for dropping the small bullet in the tip jar. Remember, it's Pete. So where is it? Over there? P-Dog Day Live. See it way over there. I can't tell because I can't point my finger the wrong way. Tyre said this article on the main Democrats have said, in the immortal words of Elvis Presley, fuck it, about a bill that was going to make the state a sanctuary for trans people, and some people are pissed, and a lot of activists are mad. But anyway, in Maine, a bill seeking security for those seeking gender affirmation care became a lightning rod online before lawmakers from both sides of the aisle abandoned the measure. The Maine Legislature's Judiciary Committee voted against the proposal after wait, where is this article from? The Advocate. Okay, so The Advocate is basically an LGBTQIA 2A plus LMNOP XYZ advocacy organization and publication. Retro Veteran Gaming, how you doing? So the language in the article will reflect the fact that they are advocates for the other side of the issue. So that's why they say the Maine Legislature's Judiciary Committee voted against the proposal of a far-right, right-wing extremist online after they learned about the bill and far-right influencers, including libs of TikTok, just libs of TikTok, targeted lawmakers who were considering the legislation. The measure, LD 1735, was a bill aimed at safeguarding gender-affirming care for transgender individuals. See now how they try to play it off. For transgender individuals, including minors. Yeah, that's why the bill failed, because of the minors part. The decision made on Thursday marks a significant movement in the state's approach to transgender rights in healthcare. It was sponsored by Democratic Representative Lori Osher of Orono, and it was initially backed by numerous advocacy groups, including the Maine Nurse Practitioner Association, the Maine Psychological Association, the National Association of Social Workers, and the Maine Beacon. And the Maine Beacon reports, what does that mean? The bill's primary objective was to prevent Maine from being forced to work with law enforcement from states where gender-affirming care is banned, specifically in cases involving people who sought such treatment in Maine. Well, gee, where exactly? The states that were, notice what they did here. They completely leave out the fact for minors, because right now, there's not a single state that, quote, what did she say? Where gender-affirming care is banned, except for minors. Why would they leave that out? Isn't that an important caveat? I would think that would be a very important caveat. Hello, Hypnagogic Monk. So this is hilarious. So, forced to work with law enforcement from states where gender-affirming care is banned, specifically in cases involving people, minors, who sought such treatment in Maine. That is, if authorities from other states were trying to go after people seeking gender-affirming care, Maine would not be obligated to assist them. Oh, you mean parents who kidnapped, one parent who kidnapped a kid and took them to another state to get gender-affirming care, or minors who skipped the state, they wouldn't have to... See, here's where it is. Say, for example, a case in a state where a mother and father were disputing whether or not to start giving their 11-year-old son puberty blockers and hormone treatments, and the judge rules that, especially if it's like a divorced parents, and then the mom decides that she wants to run off to Maine to get it done, and the judge rules that they have to go get her ass back because she's breaking the law. And normally states would, cooperate in taking law enforcement to, if they find that person, to send them back to where they're supposed to be under the judge's order in the other state. This law would say, nope, we're not going to do that. We're going to let them do the gender-affirming care on the minor child. See? Notice how they don't even mention minors. So then they have the thing about, they show libs of TikTok. Breaking, Maine legislature to vote tomorrow on the trans minor sanctuary bill after public backlash. The vote is postponed until January 25th, which is tomorrow. Make sure to email all state legislators today. Their emails are below the tweet. Again, this is because the minor issue. Because no one's saying that adults, whether it's misguided or not, I don't know, whether adults should have the right to do this to themselves. But minors who have no idea how the world works and no idea what their future might be probably shouldn't be doing this because, gosh, they don't realize, oh my gosh, you're sterilizing yourself for life. So anyway, the bill had been a top priority for transgender rights advocates in the session, viewed as an extension of last year's legislative progress that allowed 16 and 17-year-olds, minors, in Maine to access gender-affirming care without parental consent or notification. Really? So in Maine, a minor can do this without parental consent, in line with Maine's laws on abortion and contraceptive for minors. However, significant opposition emerged, particularly from Republican lawmakers, according to reports. The debate over the bill was seemingly influenced by a social media campaign led by Kaya Raichik, the Libs of TikTok account operator. On January 16th, Raichik galvanized her 2.8 million followers. Oh, I'm surprised they didn't say terrorist, to take action against the proposed legislation. Then on Wednesday, she wrote another appeal, breaking, okay, we already wrote that. Following this call to action, the Judiciary Committee unanimously voted 12-0 with one member absent to stop the bill's progression after a brief deliberation period. So wait a minute. So it's still in committee? Interesting. The Judiciary Committee, chaired by Democrat Senator Ann Carney and Representative Matt Moonen, unanimously voted down the bill, crossing party lines in a rare show of unanimity. Democrats who previously supported the bill cited the inclusion of the unnecessary language as a primary reason for their change in stance. So that's the advocates on the story. Trier, you tried. I didn't. That wasn't too bad, I don't think. I don't think I lost my mind too bad. All right. Let's see. I want to get to the main story, then we'll come back to other stories as I am able. I'll hear these stories on. I do have stories on the issue over in the Americans getting killed in Jordan. Maybe I'll come back to those too, but I want to get to the main topic today, which is our little border issue. And I have several stories on it. Let's start here. Let's start with this one. So obviously we're having a little bit of I call it a border battle, as in the Texas and Biden are fighting over this court ruling in Texas, right? We'll start with this. Will Biden make the boneheaded move of nationalizing the Texas National Guard, which he can do, but there has to be a reason for that. When Joe Biden was just a run-of-the-mill moderate congressman from Delaware, he was considered one of the dumbest members in Congress. Remember, this is an outlet that's not fond of Joe Biden. Over the years, as Biden radicalized his views, that charge has gradually disappeared or only been whispered on Capitol Hill. But a tiger can't change his stripes, and Biden hasn't gotten any smarter since the 1980s. That should worry all of us as this crisis at the Texas border threatens to erupt into violence. Nobody wants it, but the rhetoric on both sides is getting out of control, and it's an open question whether Biden has the smarts to keep the lid on the situation. Lone Star State Republicans are livid at Biden. He's not lifting a finger. They're saying to protect them from an invasion of illegal immigrants crossing the border. They appear to have a point. A record 300,000 migrants crossed the southern border in December. That's just the one they had contact with, by the way. There's certainly probably many more than that. And aside from a few half-hearted attempts to manage the crisis, Biden has facilitated the record crossings by carefully writing down everyone's name and getting them to pinky promise to show up at an immigration court 10 years from now. You think that is hype, but no, it's pretty accurate. Good morning, Selected Boy.
Yeah, boy.
So, Texas Governor Greg Abbott, believing he was out of options, had the Texas National Guard take over a small, well-traveled section of the border near the Eagle Pass border crossing. In truth, it's a futile gesture. Migrants can cross a dozen of other ports of entry along the border, and not just in Texas. But Abbott's move to directly challenge federal authority has touched an open nerve on the right and has energized activists as no other issue has since the Tea Party protests in 2010. Now, I need to caution anyone, and I mean anyone, because we're going to talk about how some people are rushing to the border to help this along. I caution anyone about going down there. You think that they're going to, if you think they're treating the January 6th protesters badly, I think this is just another one of those. Well, how do they say it in one of the Star Wars extended versions? It's a trap. So Abbott has refused entry to the Border Patrol and other federal officials at Eagle Pass, and in defiance of the recent Supreme Court decision, has continued to string razor wire at critical points along the border. In response, to the energized right, the left has begun agitating for Biden to take over the Texas National Guard to allow the Border Patrol to do their job. It should be noted that at the time that Texas took control at Eagle Pass, the Border Patrol was not apprehending fentanyl dealers, human traffickers, or people on the terrorist watch list who came across the border. They were processing illegal aliens more quickly in order to speed them on their way into the interior of Texas. So that's what Abbott is preventing them from doing. Abbott appeared on Tucker Carlson's show this week and assured the host that Texas was ready for any boneheaded move that Biden made to try to regain control of the border. We are prepared in the event that the unlikely event does occur to make sure that we will be able to continue exactly what we've been doing over the past month, and that is building these barriers, Abbott added. Meanwhile, the left tried to equate what Abbott was doing with the civil rights battles of the 1950s. Talk about boneheaded. Former congressman and former candidate for senator, former candidate for governor, and former candidate for president, Beto O'Rourke. Beta. Yes, he's a loser. Weighed in on the crisis. Quote, Abbott is using the Texas Guard to defy the Supreme Court ruling. When Governor Faubus did this in 1957, Eisenhower federalized the Arkansas Guard to ensure compliance with the law, O'Rourke posted on X. Beta. Biden must follow this example of bold, decisive leadership to end this crisis before it gets worse. Yeah, if there's anything I think when I think Joe Biden is bold, decisive leadership. Anyway, this isn't apples and oranges. This is apple and whatever fruit they use on Mars to signify a dumbass. So, let's see. The Texas Attorney General chimed in. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton has denied the Department of Homeland Security full access in a public letter after the DHS sent a letter of its own to Texas officials on January 24th, the day after the Supreme Court ruling. The DHS demanded full access to the border and the key area of Shelby Park and Eagle Pass by January 26th. Paxton said in his response, this office will continue to defend Texas' effort to protect its southern border against every effort by the Biden administration to undermine the state's constitutional right to self-defense. Meanwhile, tempers are fraying, and it may be about to get worse. This is the part that I'm talking about. You need to think twice on joining on this, but a Take Our Border Back truck convoy is making its way to the Texas border in order to shed light on the problem and send a message to leaders. This just rings of an op to make it sound like, oh, those terrorist Republican type deals. Quote, federal citizens and compatriots, I call on you in the name of liberty and patriotism and everything dear to the American character to come to our aid with all dispatch. Pete Chambers, one of the coalition's commanders, wrote on the Take Our Border Back website. That just sounds like FBI op language. I don't like this. I do not like that. And then he says, if this clause is neglected, we are determined to sustain ourselves as long as possible and act like soldiers who never forget what is due to our honor and that of our country, Chambers wrote. Does Biden have the wit to finesse this potential powder keg, or will he sick a federalized Texas Guard on the protesters? Well, oh my God. Again, am I the only one? Am I the only one who smells another op here? Holy shite. Good morning, Jethro Hetero. So on that note, now, what's funny too, because some TV show had, was it a Law and Order episode? I don't know what the show was, but it had an episode where a kind of a typical white male,
you're fucking a white male,
dude is with some racial overtones and white supremacist overtones, is complaining at some council meeting about all the illegal immigrants, kind of making some, racist type of comments and stuff. How they dramatize and they make everything some white supremacist doing this, right? Well, oh, and it had to do with removing sanctuary status. Well, in reality, Black Chicago residents want city officials to remove sanctuary city status. Oh, there you go. If Democrats think they will be able to persuade Chicago residents to blame Governor Abbott, they are wrong. They blame Joe Biden. Appears that the utopia associated with being a sanctuary city isn't exactly what it was advertised. Texas Governor Greg Abbott's move to bring the border to blue states is arguably one of the most transformative moves a state executive has taken in the history of the nation. Now that the true scope of the illegal immigration crisis is descending on sanctuary cities and sanctuary states, some Democrats are now clamoring for the designation and its associated policies to be ended. Take Chicago, for example. Government employee Kata Trust told Fox News at night, Democrat voters like her are growing increasingly frustrated with the party's handling of the issue. There's no monies to take care of the migrants, nor is there monies to take care of the people that are there. And so we have a mess on our hands, Trust said Wednesday. Trust argued Windy City residents are upset over low-income communities and schools being divested in, while the funds are used to care for migrants instead. This is the sentiment of the city of Chicago. We would like to have our status as a sanctuary city removed. We would also like to see a better plan in place. Trust said she tried to reach out to Democrat elected officials in the city to sit down with her and other members of the community to discuss the situation, but no one was willing to talk. If you are not willing to sit down with us, if you're not willing to talk to us, why should we continue to support your ass? Okay, I elaborated. What do you call that? I embellished just slightly there. We would also like to see a better plan in place. So, so she said a lot of us Democrats are jumping ship. And then MSNBC, hardly a bastion of conservative ideology, is now sounding the alarm that the Biden administration's disastrous approach to the immigration crisis, hello, Don Julio, Gulf City Biker Chat, man, is going to substantially undermine Democratic Party efforts in November. Katie Turr spoke with Truss, who filed a lawsuit against Chicago over the migrant crisis. Here, is this how long is this clip? Oh, I'm not going 5 minutes. No. Anyway, so what Truss said, the Democratic Party, we are watching you. We are disappointed. We are angry. We are offended, and we feel like we are being mistreated, misused, and disrespected. We will not continue to be disrespected by the Democratic Party. As I said yesterday, and I'll say today and tomorrow, if you are an independent candidate, Green Party candidate, Republican candidate, now is your time in the city. So, yeah. But you know what the problem is? And it just dumbfounds me. The Republicans aren't jumping in there and saying, hey, let us listen to your problems. Because they're receptive to it. I saw a video of someone walking around the South Bronx, okay, heavily African-American community, with a microphone talking to residents of the South Bronx. And residents of the South Bronx are so fed up that they want to have a Donald Trump rally in the South Bronx. Somebody better start listening in the Republican Party. Because some of the problem in these communities is not that they only vote for Democrats, it's that Democrats are their only choice. And I don't care if you win an election there right now. Get in there and start talking to people. At least get some people on that side who are going to protect American communities, right? It's when Donald Trump says America first, guess what? You're Americans. Or these people are Americans. That's what Donald Trump's talking about. He's not talking about, Donald Trump in particular. I don't know about the rest of Republicans, but Donald Trump in particular is not talking about just the white people in America. Okay? He's talking about all Americans. He's talking about who's the dude he got back from? He's whatever. He's including the black people. He's including Hispanic Americans. He's including Asian Americans. He's talking about all Americans. You got to get your own house in order before you fix the rest of the world. You got to, when you're on the plane, if the plane loses pressure, whose mask do you put on? Do you put on the children around you's mask first, or do you put your mask on? You put your mask on to make yourself safe, then you can worry about who's around you. That's what America first means. We need to take care of America first. And then if we're going to help other people, great. But take America first. Guess what? Whatever your race is, you're an American. So, let's see. Breitbart. Oh, and apparently some of these Republicans that are jumping onto this stupid border deal that they keep talking about. Because look, you know, they one of Biden's excuses, and this is a political excuse, right? This is his political excuse, is that, well, Republicans are blocking us from doing legislation that would make immigration this and that and yada, yada, yada. And they were blocking me from doing my job. We wanted to have 1,300 more border agents, but because we tied it to Ukraine and Israel, they're not budging. And it's funny because that deal for Ukraine, the deal that he wants to do $110 million for Ukraine, Israel, some other place, and then and some border stuff. He puts it all in one bill, and so if they don't like the fact that they're putting it all in one bill and they're voting against it, he says, "Well, you're voting against border security," and then the next day you're voting against Israel's security, and you're voting against Ukrainian security as separate things because they've bound them all together. So whatever thing that they want to hit you on, they could say, well, you know, they're blocking Biden's effort at border security. Hey, guess what? Biden doesn't need a bill for border security. It's right in the U.S. statutes and whatever that he can suspend or stop immigration at any time he wants by executive order. It's literally written into his job. But he's not going to do it because he doesn't want to. All he wants to do is have more agents so he can process more people faster, as opposed to stop the flow of illegal immigration at our border or just start. Look, he can, by executive order, say, nope, border's closed. If you come across, you will be deported immediately. That's within his power, even with different things he signed. But he wants to blame it on Republicans after he fucked this shit up already himself. Biden being elected was the giant welcome mat it turned Mexico into a giant welcome mat. And anyone who could get to that welcome mat could walk right across the border. Anyway, so now even some Republicans are, any Republicans who are actually thinking about being a part of this border bill, well, here's an example. Oklahoma Republican Party ends all support for Senator James Langford over Senate deal to expand immigration. The Oklahoma Republican Party is ceasing all support for Senator James Langford as he leads negotiations with other Republicans and Democrats for a Senate deal that would expand illegal and legal immigration to the United States. As Breitbart has detailed, Langford is negotiating a deal alongside other Republicans such as Tom Tillis, John Thune, and Senator Chris Murphy. Yeah, see, John Thune's another one of those. You got to go, dude. What the fuck are you thinking? The deal would expand legal immigration by 50,000 green cards annually, even as the U.S. already admits about 1 million legal immigrants a year, with the nation's foreign-born population that set to surpass 50 million this year. So 1 in 6 Americans are foreign-born, which is fine if they're coming illegally and we know that they're not terrorist or Chinese military, right? But the people coming across the southern border, we have no fucking idea. They all just say, hey, you stop there. Asylum. Hey, you stopped. Asylum. Oh, well, let's process you. What? Asylum? Process you. Asylum? Process you. They've all been taught to say asylum, no matter what they're coming across the border for. All they have to say is no. They have to know one word in the English language, and maybe not even in English necessarily, but it's asylum. If they say asylum, oh, let's process you and bring you in. Where are you from? China. Asylum. Oh, what? Asylum? Okay, let's process you and bring you in. Wait a minute. Not even with a, wait a minute. How the fuck did you get here from China? So anyway, look, Republicans are, any of these Republicans who are signing on to this, they're getting hammered. And I don't mean with vodka. There you go. Next, Turley explains which party has the upper hand in the Texas Biden showdown. It comes down to one word. This is curious. What is Jonathan Turley saying here? How long is this shit? 3 minutes, we'll take it.
As law professor and Fox News contributor Jonathan
Let's
Turley.
see what Jonathan Turley says about
you
this.
Can help us explain to the audience. This is not just some like small legal issue. This could be seismic.
This is
in
major.
Washington, D.C.
This
and
is
affect
a constitutional
all
crisis.
across the country.
Dana, I think that's absolutely correct. Most of the everyday life of citizens is affected by regulations, not laws. They're affected by what bureaucrats.
Whoa! This is not the right art. This is not the right thing. This has nothing to do with immigration. Let's see. The problem is federal courts are unlikely to agree that this is an invasion reference to the Constitution. Oh, that's why why the federal government probably has the upper hand in this issue, because while the word invasion may not be applicable, because evasion here it is. Turley first began by arguing that the open border crisis is a violation of the understanding between the federal government and the states, adding the federal government has not fulfilled its pledge. But the problem is that the federal governments are unlikely to agree that this is the invasion reference in the Constitution. There's also a reference to imminent danger, and certainly looking at hundreds of thousands of people crossing an effectively open border presents an imminent danger, but the courts are likely to define that in the context of that provision in the context of an invasion by, as with a foreign state. So, because they're not all from the same state, invasion usually would be from a single foreign state. This is just invasion of people all over the fucking world. So I think Texas is going to have a hard time making that constitutional argument in court. Then he added, while judges may be sympathetic to Texas being overwhelmed by migrants, the federal government has the upper hand legally. They tend to get a lot of deference along the border. Yes, immigration is a federal basically under federal jurisdiction, not state jurisdiction. But again, Texas is saying the federal government is in dereliction of their duty to protect the states. So that's a nasty battle right there. But interesting, the Border Patrol Union is kind of on Texas's side and slams the catastrophe Biden has unleashed on America. The official union of the U.S. Customs and Border Protection released a statement on Thursday backing the Texas National Guard's attempts to secure the border and slamming the Biden administration for its catastrophic border policies. The Border Patrol Council, which is the union, which has more than 18,000 members, said that the rank-and-file Border Patrol agents appreciate and respect the measures that Texas has taken to repel the record flow of illegal immigrants into the U.S. border under Biden. Yeah, their shit was working. Hello, James Colley. How you doing? Their shit was working. The razor wire is somewhat effective. Eagle Pass is not nearly as overwhelmed as it was a month ago. Earlier this week, Texas Governor Greg Abbott doubled down on using razor wire to repel migrants from illegally crossing the border after the Supreme Court ruled that Border Patrol agents have the authority to cut through the wire to allow illegal immigrants into the country. On Friday, the Daily Wire found that Texas authorities have not only maintained existing razor wire fortifications, but have added razor wire to the border. Now, again, this is the part where it's a little bit of a, I don't know, I wouldn't say slippery use of the terms, because the Supreme Court ruled that Border Patrol agents have the authority to cut through the wire to allow immigrants in the country. But it said nothing about Texas authorities putting up more wire. So, the Border Patrol Union statement sought to clarify the rank-and-file Border Patrol agents were in no way preventing Texas National Guard troops from carrying out their lawful orders and vice versa. Texas National Guard members realized that rank-and-file Border Patrol agents have their orders as well. They added lawful orders, no matter how unpopular or distasteful amongst rank-and-file agents, must be followed. Unlawful orders, as determined by competent legal counsel and not what some outhouse lawyer behind the keyboard says, will not be followed. Then the union ripped the Biden administration for its border policies and the negative consequences they've had on America. Quote, rank-and-file Border Patrol agents appreciate and respect what Texas has been doing to defend their state in the midst of this catastrophe that the Biden administration has unleashed on America, the statement continued. We want to be perfectly clear. There is no fight between rank-and-file Border Patrol agents and the Texas National Guard, Governor Abbott, or the Texas Department of whatever that is. It may make flashy headlines, but it simply isn't true. As in, there is no fight between the Border Patrol agents and the Texas National Guard. Hello, Andrew Thorsten. So that's interesting. The Border Patrol agents are like, yeah, Biden's a dickhead. Let's see. What's this one I pulled up? In the American Thinker. Biden, yeah, and here it is. Biden's legal win against Texas has one problem. The Border Patrol doesn't seem to want to cooperate. Joe Biden has been in a courthouse free-for-all against the state of Texas, which seeks to protect the border from foreign invaders against Biden's wishes, creating a legal battlefield to shut down the state's own effort down. Thus far, the Supreme Court, John Roberts, and the gals on the bench has ruled for Joe. So with that supposed high court victory in hand, I've been waiting for Biden to send the Border Patrol to start cutting down all the razor wire from the Texas National Guard has put up at Texas Governor Greg Abbott's orders, and nothing seems to be happening. I'm probably not the only one here. Here's what's going around on Twitter. Biden's talking about climate action. Biden working on his election campaign. Now, according to the Daily Mail, the U.S. Border Patrol says there are no plans to dismantle the razor wire installed by the state of Texas along the southern border, despite the ongoing legal battle between the Lone Star State and the Biden administration. Texas is currently entangled in a multifaceted legal clash with the federal government concerning the security of the Texas-Mexico border. The legal challenges include the federal government's objection to Texas' recent seizure of Shelby Park near Eagle Pass, ongoing lawsuits regarding the removal of razor wire erected by Texas, and the placement of buoys in the Rio Grande that deliberately block migrants swimming across. Texas contends that is acting in self-defense against what it characterizes as a migrant invasion. Again, that word invasion is not necessarily a legal term of invasion, but like invasion by a foreign power, which is really what they were talking about in the last article. And then there's the article about the Daily Wire saying the Border Patrol Council, the basically union for the rank and file Border Patrol people, are on Texas's side. So it's not a good, it's interesting. It may not turn out so well for the Biden administration. It doesn't sound like if they nationalize the Texas National Guard, that'll be interesting. Now, former national security officials warn of a multi-division army of young single adult males illegally crossing the border. You know how every time we watch the videos of these giant, mobs of border crossing people, and then they have them on the other side trying to process them, and you kind of look through the crowd, and you notice that there's maybe like 1% are women and children, and the West are all, military age fighting males. And it's funny because if these are all refugees seeking asylum, where are all the women and children, right? Where are they? You'd think there'd be entire families that were refugees, but no, it's all military aged males. Well, Ron DeSantis suspended his presidential campaign, but he's still speaking out on the most important issue of the 2024 presidential election, the uncontrolled southern border, and he's still right about it. The appropriate number of illegal entries is 0. The deal he's making about it is the tentative agreement between Biden and Republican senators per Bill Maluga of Fox News, and here's the outline. So here's the supposed agreement that the Republican senators and Biden are making. So it requires the mandatory detention of all single adults. That's good. Mandatory shutdown of the border once the average daily migrant encounters hit 5,000. Important in this 5,000 number includes 1,400 CBP One App entries, means at ports of entry, and 3,600 illegal crossings per day. Like, you're allowing that many per day before you say no more. Wait a minute. 3,600 illegal crossings per day. Well, let's say it's 3,599 because that's supposedly a threshold, right? Where then they shut it off for a few days. But imagine if it was 3,599. That's over 1.3 million illegal crossings a year still. Like, wait a minute. Why are you allowing any illegal crossings? That's the problem. And then how is it enforced? Once the 5,000 threshold is hit, a new authority is codified in law that requires Border Patrol to immediately remove illegal immigrants they catch without processing. They would not get to request asylum. They would be immediately removed. This includes removals back to Mexico and deportations to home countries. This would be a massive change from the current policy, which is that once an illegal immigrant reaches U.S. soil, they must be processed via Title VIII and allowed to claim asylum. Under this new authority, they are not processed. They are mandatorily immediately removed once the shutdown threshold is reached. Now, but again, the shutdown threshold is 3,500 a day. It's if it or 5,000 if you include the port of entries. Why are we allowing any that are not through a port of entry? Sorry, you can't cross here. You're going to be deported. You're going home unless you try to come through a port of entry legally. But no. Now, this shutdown also takes effect if there are 8,500 migrant encounters in a single day. So, for example, every day in December, supposedly it would shut down the border. The shutdown would not lift the next day. It would lift until daily encounters are reduced to under 75% of the 5,000 threshold for at least 2 weeks. This means the shutdown authority would not lift until 2 weeks of an average of less than 3,750 migrant encounters per day. Some family units, so if you come with family, again, they give you little loopholes that encourage traffickers. Some family units will be released with the ATD, alternatives to detention, ankle monitors, etc., which a lot of them just cut off and disappear. New removal authority to immediately remove all migrants who do not have valid asylum claims, which will be determined within 6 months rather than the years-long process we have right now. Any migrant caught trying to cross twice during the shutdown phase would be banned from entering the U.S. for 1 year. How about forever? U.S. will need agreements with Mexico for Mexico to take back non-Mexican illegal immigrants. This hasn't been ironed out yet. Yeah, I'm sure they're just chomping at the bit to take back all the non-Mexican illegal border crossers, since the majority of them are non-Mexican. This deal is a step back to codify massive illegal immigration and worse than current law. The problem is Biden will not enforce the law. Here it is. Existing law provides for mandatory detention of all persons entering illegally. If they write a chest-beating law calling for mandatory detention of all single adults, that actually guts the better law we already have. And why would anyone trust them to enforce it? Ding, 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 1,000 times. Where's my manual bell that I can just go ding, 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 ding. I don't have it anymore. I used to have a bell here. Anyway, yeah, it's like they're making it easier for illegal crossings instead of just following the fucking law now. Jesus criminy. Anyway, there's a lot more than that, but I'm out of time. So, it's just amazing the bullshit they come up with. All right, I'm going to finish with a couple things here, though. Oh, and here's this. When I was talking about the trucker convoy, I do have an article about the trucker convoy that's heading to the southern border hotspots to protest the Biden border crisis. And they're kind of, hi, Man Squatch, how you doing? I just noticed you were here, too. An amazing disgrace also. So legal insurrection readers may recall that early in 2022, Canadian truckers organized a massive freedom convoy that lined the streets of Ottawa and other cities that was a target of a highly disgraceful actions by local authorities and Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, Castro. To break it up, the truckers were protesting the stingent and lucrative COVID restrictions that impacted their ability to operate profitably and that were also detrimental to personal liberties. Now, 2 years later, American truckers are organizing a huge convoy that will be heading to the southern border to protest the Biden administration's complete lack of border control. The convoy seeks to line the southern border with more than 700,000 vehicles and holds several rallies next week to demand action for the Biden administration. The Take Our Borders Back Southern Border Convoy will span from Virginia Beach, Virginia to San Diego, California, and hold protests urging officials to enforce the Constitution amendments and halt human and drug trafficking across the border from January 29th to February 3rd. So that's the take our border back. I just stay away from any Fed activity and don't get in any fights because they'll arrest you and try to charge you with sedition and all that other shit. Hello, Genty. What's up? And then the last couple articles I wanted to show you, this con artist accused of stealing $100 million from the Army. I did go through it already, I think, back here. So a con artist who is accused of defrauding the U.S. Army out of $100 million. You wonder why the Pentagon audits never work? They never come up, reconcile. A con artist who is accused of defrauding the U.S. Army out of $100 million has been given the green light to retire with full benefits. Janet Yamaka Mello, 57, who is under criminal investigation, brazenly claims she has earned her civil service retirement package despite allegedly using the funds to purchase over 30 homes, luxury cars, and jewelry through the 7-year scheme. The military admitted that there is nothing that can be done to withhold Mello's benefits as they are protected under a federal law that was held up in government bureaucracy. The command has no authority to impact Ms. Mello's retirement, the Army spokesman told San Antonio Express News. In accordance with 5 U.S. Code Section 8312, an individual may be denied an annuity or retired pay on the basis of service of the individual if the individual is convicted of treason, rebellion, or insurrection, or other similar offenses. There is no similar statutory authority for denying retired pay based on conviction of other offenses. So she's just going to get a retirement pay, which, I mean, she did earn the retirement pay, but damn, she stole $100 million. It's just humorous, too humorous to know. And then finally, in the Daily Wire, America's favorite rapper is now Ben Shapiro. So apparently Ben Shapiro, as you know, someone mentioned it earlier, that he he's on a rap song with Tom McDonald, one of our favorite guys rapping in the rightosphere rappers. Apparently, Nicki Minaj on Saturday reacted to the Daily Wire editor emeritus Ben Shapiro landing on the top spot on iTunes. The top song on iTunes was Tom McDonald and Ben Shapiro with a song called Facts. Shapiro notably tagged Minaj, whose real name is Onika Tanya Miraj Petty, in a post on Friday afternoon, writing, "Hey, Nicki Minaj, it's great to join you atop the iTunes rap charts. Sorry, correction, you're a few slots lower." Shapiro McDonald later hit the #1 spot on iTunes, and Minaj responded to the song with some humor. She said, "I just listened to Ben Shapiro. Not bad. Congrats on #1, she wrote. But it definitely sounds like Roman Revenge when the beat first came in. I don't know. Roman Revenge is one of the rapper's top hit songs." Minaj further commented on the rap. Ben Shapiro put out a diss record. He said his comment section was filled with woke Karens. The song is #1 on US iTunes, she added. What is really happening, and who is that other man rapping? She didn't know who Tom McDonald was. Is this real life? And then she said something about, he said, "Nicki, take some notes." Nah, the 41-year-old said, referring to Tom McDonald. And then, so anyway, there's a back and forth. If you want to read that, it's funny. Look, I've heard just his little bars that he had on there. It's kind of weak, but it's kind of funny too, because he's a little bit self-deprecating, and that's okay too. So great on Ben Shapiro. Congratulations. You get to hobnob on X with Nicki Minaj now. And what was that song about her butt? Anyway, y'all, that's it for this Monday edition of the Morning Night Live. I hope you enjoyed it. Do me a favor, hit the like button, share the stream, share the replay, whatever. And if you want to see any of these articles on up close and personal, I'm going to drop those links in the chat on a one-tab link. You click the link, and everything we went through will be on a single page for your viewing pleasure. That's it for today. Thank you. Gotta go. My name is P-Dog Knight, and I'm out of here. Have a great day. Here come the links. Outro, please, now. Hey, this is P-Dog Knight, and thank you for watching today on the P-Dog Night channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cash App, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm P-Dog Night, and I'm out of here.